Okay, these are my final comments here for Unit 3. Chapter 10, excuse me, Chapter 10 is all about, or at least an introduction to this real broad category called elder abuse. And it has gotten, excuse me, it has gotten a lot of attention in recent years because it's a growing concern. And it will invariably affect the practice that you join if you practice in this area. And I wanted to just give you some context from a practitioner standpoint as to what this looks like day to day. So from my perspective and my experience really as a practitioner, the bulk of elder abuse is not as you might imagine, physical abuse or mental abuse, although obviously these things occur, and they're awful, and terrible and heinous acts. But the by a wide margin, surely the elder abuse that I see in my practice is more in the financial nature, and it's and I think the book goes a little overboard in this area, talking about the various Ponzi schemes and scams and so forth, and certainly those are out there. And I have had a client even as recently as last week who lost money, $1,500, not a lot of money, but being ripped off $1,500 is still wounding to a trusting older person. But so surely it is family abuse of an elder's money that is the thing that I think I see most commonly, and I would bet most of my colleagues do as well, which is a family member misusing an elder's funds, or in my view, just that's just stealing. So I've seen it in a number of ways. I would say the most common way is what I would consider an advancement, in that I had a situation where daughter had she'd lost her job and she'd had a hard time getting back into work, and so she just moved in with her dad, and her dad had no interest in having daughter and daughter's family all of a sudden living there. And I remember when talking to dad, and he was like, "Well, what can I do? That's my daughter." And so they kind of crowded into his small space, and she was, soon after, had a brand new, big beautiful pickup, and a number of other things, and it was clear that obviously she was spending dad's money for her own personal benefit, and is that abuse? Well, dad made these gifts to me. Well, dad's suffering from some pretty advanced dementia. Does he have the ability to make these gifts? And anyway, that's really the area I think where we see more more elder abuse, at least in my experience, is this sort of financial exploitation, and I think usually it's family members doing it. So, in Illinois, it's nice in that you can make, if you wish and you want to remain anonymous. I know my colleague, one of the attorneys in my office, prefers, and that's fine. He has made the call to the state of Illinois and saying, look, X, Y, and Z has unfolded, and they take a bunch of facts, and then they work with the area agency on aging, who then contracts, at least in my experience, with Catholic Charities quite often, really. And Catholic Charities is the one that goes out and actually sends that Catholic Charities worker out to knock on the door and see if they can make a report and figure out what's going on. If the situation warrants, then they'll get an attorney involved and bring something, whether it's in a civil court or Illinois statute provides for criminal action to be taken by the state's attorney in certain circumstances of abuse as well. So it's a serious matter, and it's handled seriously, and it's both civil and criminal venues that will address it. So, but I think the book does a fine job of at least introducing the concept. And I think that question in chapter 10 was pretty straightforward too. So hopefully you didn't have any problem with that. Okay, that's all I have really in that section.